Well, good morning and welcome back to the Citystead. I am Josh. Today's kind of a rainy, dreary type of day. It stinks, man. It was like cold for like a week, then we had like a good day, and now it's raining. It's like, you know, you just can't make this stuff up. Oh, what are you gonna do, right? Now, I didn't get bit by the frost, like a lot of people did. I have a steadfast rule that nothing goes in the ground until after Mother's Day, and I stuck to it. And I had mentioned before that I thought the season was kind of shifting a little bit. It seems like the past 2 years I have harvested things I shouldn't harvest normally in early October, even into middle October. Like in 2018, we harvested okra the first week of October. We did have a frost that, like right after that, and it completely killed it. But I was harvesting all the way up until that point, which is just crazy because that's not normal. So as I was walking around this morning, just kind of checking things out, I noticed I had some awesome apple blossoms over there. Pretty excited about that. That is a Collimore apple tree. It's supposed to have a very tight circle growth on it. So, you know, you can produce a bunch of apples in a very tight area. Kind of why I planted it there. This one is also a Collimore type apple, but it's not as old. It's a year younger, and it hasn't been here as long. And it's actually a little less Collimore branch-wise than the other one is. So I don't know if there's something about it, but this one kind of grows a little more outward. Probably had to do a little more pruning on this one when they get a little bit bigger. But as a brand new beekeeper, I've been waking up to this very nervous wreck every single morning. There's a lot of bees on the front of that hive, and they're dead, and they bring them out in the, you know, usually in the mornings. It seems like they bring out the carcasses of the bees. Now, the situation we've had is that we've had like freezing temperatures for 4 nights in a row now. So yeah, it's gonna be really nervous, and I haven't wanted to open the hive because it's been kind of cold, and I know they like to keep it warm, and I don't want to like get them angry, but I have noticed a lot of activity, and like yesterday was sort of nice, and there was a ton of activity on that hive, so I think they're still doing okay, but man, I gotta tell you, that makes me nervous. You guys just love the way the wood chips look after the rain. Like everything, the wood's all soaked with that moisture. It just really pops that color out. Looks so great, especially with the just that natural wood chip color. Freaking beautiful. I love it. This makes the garden look so much nicer. I noticed this year that our pear tree is just loaded up with all sorts of flowers. So this is the tree that we bought in the beginning. When we bought our house like a decade ago, we bought this one. We bought the peach tree that I took out because it was kind of diseased and dying. Well, this tree is absolutely fine. It's been doing good. It's just now actually getting to the point where it's producing a lot of fruit. Last year we got a pretty decent harvest off of it. The year before that we just started getting the fruit. So it took a little while to establish, but this pear tree is finally becoming something really good in our garden. I sure wish I could remember where I bought this tree from. Have you guys ever heard of an elderberry Collimore tree? I want to say it's like black lace or white lace or something like that, or wedding lace, something. It's something lace, I know that much. I can't remember where I bought it from. But man, it is starting to get really big. When I bought this thing, it was just a little teeny tiny thing. I've been really enjoying seeing it grow, and it has awesome leaves when they start growing out. I just love the way they look, like little tufts. Reminds me of those tuffula trees from the Lorax story. So we got pretty lucky with all that cold frost though, because we didn't lose any of our peach blossoms at all. Everything looks pretty good on those. They seem to make it through pretty good, and so did our plums. So this is our plum tree here. And you can see this thing is definitely really flowered out everywhere. I need to do a little bit of pruning this year on it. I skipped this year doing pruning in the summer or in the winter. Just wanted to grow a little bit more. So so I can kind of see what it was doing, and then I'm gonna do a really good prune job on it. Probably midsummer after we harvest some of the fruit, if it produces some fruit, which it should. I mean, this many blooms still on there through the frost, I think we'll be okay. And my fruit tree row here is just looking really great. All those white and pink, purple flowers. There's an apricot tree down there too, but it only has a couple blooms on it. It's not really big yet. It's getting there. The other day when I was walking around with the kids out here, I started noticing this, and I had never seen this in our yard before. It's purple nettle, I believe. I think I might try to make a salad or something with it. What do you guys do with your purple nettle? I know there's people that do stuff with it. We've never actually had this grow in our yard at all. So it's really interesting because there's quite a bit of it. It's all like over there. There's quite a bit. I'm gonna have to find some use for it, right? Can you guys see the green down there? That's the pawpaw tree. It's just starting to leaf out a little bit. I love when this thing starts leafing out. It's a very tropical, big, long, elongated leaf on it. It looks really, really cool over here. Especially when they're both kind of like flowered out, you know, not flowered out, greened out. When they're both over here greened out, you know, it just looks very tropical-ish. Some Egyptian walking onions back there. Those things are doing really good lately. So I've mentioned before that we put this strawberry hugelkultur bed in a couple years ago. Last year was the biggest strawberry plants I've ever seen. And this year, it looks like they're gonna repeat. They're already growing pretty good. And just look at all of those flowers. Now, one good thing about making a strawberry raised bed is I can actually build like a top to kind of put over this to protect it from critters. So once it actually starts fruiting, we might do something like that to make sure we get a really good strawberry harvest. But it looks like we should have ourselves a really decent strawberry harvest this year. One of the other things that we grow berry-wise, and this is kind of like an early mid-season type berry, is currants. Now these are just red currants. These get loaded up, and I can't believe how much fruit they actually produce. Like just this little bush. I mean, this one's actually kind of big now. So this bush is 3 years old. Yeah, 3 years. We got it in 2018. So this will be its third season, 18, 19, 20. And I can't believe just how many flowers are on this thing. There's actually a little currant right there, if you can see it. Teeny, teeny, tiny one. It's so tiny. There's a few of them. So the kids like snacking on these last year. Pretty little tasty treat, and you get a whole bunch of them. This thing is just loaded up. I mean, I just love the way they grow. Produces so many fruit. We might actually be able to do something with them this year, like a jam or a jelly. Possibly. I don't know. I don't know how much we're going to need, but they'll at least get eaten fresh. So you can see all the flowers are finally starting to wake up. Got a lot of the garlic greens, some self-seeded carrots. I'm saving a couple of those, but a lot of those are going to get pulled out. They're just tops. I don't want to grow any more carrots for seed. We did a lot of that last year. We got a ton of carrot seed. We just don't need it. We need space for other stuff. You know, because I used it all for garlic. So we got a lot of beds, just getting ready. We got some joker lettuce finally starting to sprout up on us. So that stuff we planted like a month ago. We also planted chard in the other bed, and it's just now sprouting up. So some of the early greens that we got are just now getting through because we did have that little cold cycle. So a lot of this stuff, you know, it's just a little bit slower growing than normal. So because I did stick to my rule of not after Mother's Day, I didn't get any kind of heartache from the frost, which is good. You know, I wish I was outside with a bunch of stuff. I wish I had a bunch of stuff planted outside already big, but I have been learning and studying my area and what's been going on, and I adjusted for this year according to what happened the past 2 years. So like last year, the spring was really rainy, it was wet. We actually didn't get much of a garden in at all because I just was shipped out of town when the times that I could have planted would have been, and the other times it was so rainy, so wet, so cold, that just we couldn't get anything in the ground. So I really adjusted a lot of my plans this year to last year's schedule, and I shifted everything about 2 weeks. So I actually don't plan on putting too much outside here in the thumb area of Michigan until, you know, like a week from today. That's kind of my plan. It'll be like almost 2 weeks after Mother's Day. I just want to shift it because I feel like the season has sort of shifted a little bit, and I don't want to be too early and get another frost. I'm still a little worried, a little leery that we could have a really cold snap again, a couple cold days, and it could really do a lot of more damage to a lot of starts, a lot of plants. So I'm holding off. I don't know what everybody else really thinks about stuff like that. I do really like to push my zones, and I really like to try to do different things, and I grow trees that are outside of my zone. Like, I try to create my own microclimates, but I do some things where I try to be a little more smart in my planning. Like a lot of annuals, I don't want to lose a lot of annuals, so I will wait. And I'm gonna direct sow a bunch of stuff anyways, so it doesn't matter. If I direct sow them now, they still won't come up until the time is right in the temperatures of the soil. So it's one of those things, you know what I mean? I'm trying to play it a little bit safe. I don't want to gamble too much because I don't want to lose a bunch of plants. And you can see a lot of that is reflected in like some of this greenhouse growth, like all this chard and stuff. It hasn't really grown much because it's been really cold. These tomatoes, well, I've made it through the cold spell. They just, you know, they're not very big. They're not to the true leaves yet on them. And then just a lot of stuff is just now coming up. We got a lot of beans popping up. We got a lot of other little greens. This is all greens. More greens over there. We got some blue mini corn. I've never grown a successful crop of corn, but I got these from UT 33200. Sent me some blue mini corn. It just sounded really fun, and I thought it'd be interesting to try to grow it. So I planted some of those. They're just not coming up. 4th of July, knee high or something, right? Like, I've never been good at growing corn. We tried one year, and like a raccoon or something got it and knocked all the corn over. And this is when we did like a traditional type garden, like all in ground, just tilled it, and then we would plant stuff, and the corn like fell over on top of a bunch of squash, and it just killed everything in its wake when it got knocked over. And I think it was by some sort of critter, I'm not exactly sure, but ever since then I've been like, you know what, corn, screw it, it's not worth it. We live in a state that grows a lot of corn, so it's super easy to get during the summer. You know, we can get corn for, you know, it's like 20 cents an ear, like it's ridiculous. So being that we are an urban lot, you know, we got to pick and choose sometimes, and corn has been something I just haven't grown. But I thought it'd be interesting to give it a try again. I got an idea of where to put it, and I might do a Three Sisters type thing with it. Still not sure yet. And check this out, we got more beans growing, lots and lots of beans, lots of kohlrabi. Those are actually gonna go outside probably today. And yeah, that's it, pretty much all that's going on. A lot of stuff going on inside also, but you guys saw that in the grow room update. If you didn't see that video, I'll link it. But that's all for today. I just wanted to do like a little morning walk around, show you some of the stuff, and kind of look at the garden before we do our, you know, planting, and then that would be our base point of what the garden looked like when it was naked. The naked garden, barely anything growing in there. And you know, in a couple weeks time, it is gonna be starting to lush out and look awesome. Super green and super great. So this would be fun to look back and actually say, wow, that's what the garden looked like at the beginning of the season, and this is what it looks like now. Well, thanks for hanging out with me on this nice, dreary, rainy morning. Hopefully the sun comes out later and we have a good afternoon and we can get out here and get a lot more stuff done. If not, I'll just plant more seeds, because who doesn't want to plant more seeds? Alright guys, remember, be bold and grow bold, and as always, I'll see you guys in that very next video.